Hello world, hello friend. I've been procrastinating making this video for months now, waiting for the optimal moment to share this because it felt weird and awkward to make such an announcement in the midst of layoffs and what some call a recession, and since it probably won't get better anytime soon, here it is. I quit my job at Google as a software engineer. And it's probably not why you think. First, I'm going to briefly tell you how and why I got a job at Google to begin with, which I'll expand on in its own video, and then how we got to the point here where I quit. I'm also going to make a part 2 where I take a deep dive into all of my reasonings and the financial and growth decisions, but this video is the whole story for context. Also, disclaimer, because this is the internet, I'm just sharing my experience and knowledge with you, so it might help you in your own career, and watch the whole thing to find a lot of things I seriously wish some people told me years ago, and sorry if I offend any of you with this video whatsoever, okay? I haven't been keeping this a secret, I just didn't want to make a public announcement, but what I did have to keep a secret is what I'm working on now. If you're new here, I'm Delia, a now ex-Google engineer, and I make tech and travel content, so subscribe if you're interested in furthering your tech career, being a digital nomad, or anything that falls into the Venn diagram that is tech and travel. Welcome, I'm super happy to have you here. Also, if you guessed why I quit correctly, let me know in the comments. Though it will be hard to guess correctly because it's a long story with many ups and downs, and I hope your TikTok scrolling attention span can handle it. Are you up for the challenge? Okay, let's go. So I started university back in 2013 for business and computer science, and my fresh-faced, deluded, deranged little 17-year-old brain thought I should apply for a job at Google, when I literally had zero real job experience other than being a literal clown, selling knives, and like 18 other jobs that I tried before university, but never having written a single line of code, unless Neopets or VBA counts. But I said screw it and applied anyway, and I think this is how Google got my email. So this is super important life advice to all you fellow dreamers out there. Be deranged, be delusional, embrace your inner delusion. So my email was stored somewhere in the depth of Google's database to be ignored forever, or waiting for its time to shine. So fast forward 6 years to 2019, after graduating with my 2 degrees and having over a year of work experience as a software engineer, Google reached out to me. I was a junior dev and Google gets millions of applicants, so I thought it was some kind of Nigerian prince scam. But the emails kept coming in month after month. I was busy living my best life, coding while motorcycling across Europe, working at a small startup that I loved, and enjoying the flexibility of a fully remote job, which was almost unheard of 5 years ago. Even though it didn't pay great, I would have never traded it to work at a big corporation where I have to go into the office every day. Even if that office has slides and free food, I did not want a corporate job. But after getting these emails from Google monthly, I realized that they were either a super persistent Nigerian prince scammer, or Google actually wanted to hire me. And they did. And here's why. Important life tip number 2. They were trying to hire me as a cloud technical solutions engineer. Cloud was booming in 2019, the tech hiring craze started, and I had just the perfect skills for a client-facing technical role, helping developers deal with their infrastructure. Because I had my business and computer science degree. And because most of my experience at the startup involved deploying cloud infrastructure. So super important that you pick the right skills. I knew that these would be killer combo degrees, and I'll make another video on which skills I think are very future-proof. But if you're someone who's still deciding what to study, trust me, business and computer science are still a match made in heaven. Highly recommend. I still didn't really believe Google was trying to hire me until December 2019 when I finally got on a call with a recruiter, which is also around the time when I was actually working less hours and making more money from freelancing. So in January of 2020, I quit my startup job to freelance full-time, and this time go snowboarding around Europe. Now, with all the free time I had as a freelancer, I was able to properly prepare for the Google interview process, which started in January 2020. Prep is key to landing any technical job, and I prepared my ass off. Eat, breathe, sleep, leak code. And then finally, in September of 2020, I got an offer, which was just days before I actually bought an apartment in Croatia because it has better quality of life and cost-to-income ratio. So I decided to leave Canada behind. But the Google offer was in Canada, so I didn't really want to take it. But when I told my parents I got the job, I swear for the first time in my life, my dad said he was proud of me. And I knew that with Google on my resume, I could easily go back to freelancing and charge twice as much. So I took the leap and accepted the offer. And the biggest reason I accepted is that in October of 2020, the world as we knew it shifted to a remote working reality, only temporarily for COVID, but still, Google was fully remote. So in October of 2020, I became a TSE, Technical Solutions Engineer. At first, I was thrilled to be able to work from anywhere in Canada, but after 6 months of ramping up, I realized that I wasn't doing what I truly wanted, which was building things. Instead, I was helping other developers build things and helping them with their infrastructure, and constantly interfacing with GCP customers who are dealing with production issues isn't that much fun. So I wanted to quit. But instead, I started networking and exploring new opportunities, both internally and externally. I always leave my LinkedIn looking for opportunities button on, and my mental one too. Even when I'm not actively looking, it's important to keep an open mind always, because you never know what good opportunities the universe is going to throw at you. This paid off when I discovered something called a ladder transfer, which would allow me to switch jobs within the company. I worked hard on a 20% coding project, 120% project, my manager's words verbatim. I built some artifacts, some proof that I actually knew how to code for Google. Then one day, I stumbled upon a job posting for a C++ role on the Gmail team. And even though I didn't know C++, having my very delusional IDGAF mentality, I randomly applied, and the hiring manager pinged me the very next day. With a great performance review and some serious networking, I guess it looked like I knew what I was doing. I had 2 super casual interviews and it seemed like a perfect fit, but I learned that I need to be in my role for at least 1 year before doing a switch. And I also need like 50 million director approvals, and I didn't think I could last another 5 months in the TSE role, which was one of the most stressful roles I've ever done in my life, or go through the whole interview process again. And to make matters worse, I knew that I would eventually have to return to the office because they rejected my request to go fully remote. So I knew I'd rather leave than go back to the office for hybrid. So I wanted to quit. But then, with a little bit of luck, a lot of networking, and a pinch of butt kissing, I got approvals from managers and managers of managers, and almost everyone up to Sundar himself literally went to the top of the corporate ladder and to the depths of the earth. And finally, I was able to switch to a software engineer role in November of 2021 on one of my favorite products, Gmail. But the journey was far from over. Coding for Google was a whole other world, but coding in C++ for Google was a whole other world. I got to work on the backend infrastructure for network reliability tests, which sounded so cool, but C++ at Google was way harder than the YouTube tutorials I prepared myself with. So I struggled super hard for my first 6 months. I was stressed every day, and I barely understood memory allocation, segmentation faults, internal pipelines, legacy code, or any of the technical jargon that was thrown around in meetings. So I started interviewing at other places and considering my options, because I got a lot of options for Python and Ruby and React roles. And I loved my team, but I didn't love C++. And with the looming threat of having to return to the office, really felt like eventually I'd have to go hybrid and work on C++. So the urge to explore different opportunities was getting stronger, and I kind of wanted to quit. And then in March of 2022, something incredible happened. I was invited to a company retreat in Mexico for a very cool, fully remote company. And this was also during the tech boom, when Amazon recruiters would call, text, email, DM, pigeon mail me asking if I want a job 4 to 5 times a day, as well as what seemed like every Silicon Valley startup wanted to throw money at you. And I realized that I could pretty much get whatever I wanted back in the tech craze. And I probably just needed a vacation because I was probably a little burnt out. But when I returned to work, my "this was way too hard" attitude towards C++ changed to a "wow, this is so easy" mindset. I finally understood how my project worked. I almost finished implementing my feature, which previously seemed impossible and I was so confused about. And I no longer felt afraid to ask questions, which is the most important thing that was slowing me down. Ask questions. They're not stupid, I promise. I finally saw value in myself as an engineer simply because other people saw value in me. Yay for needing the validation of others. I never needed others to see it, but just for me to see it. And you don't either, by the way. I reapplied to be fully remote at Google and got approval almost instantly. Google even let me work from Europe for half of last year, until July of 2022. If you get one takeaway from this video, that's it. Believe in yourself and have the audacity. Because what I needed was simply just some self-confidence. I was finally loving life and loving my job, and then I quit. I realized I never really wanted to be a Google software engineer. I just wanted the idea of being a Google software engineer. I made hundreds of pros and cons lists, and I got 10 juicy reasons on how I made my career decision that I'll dive into my next video. Trust me, it's not your average "I wanted a change of pace" or "I wanted more money" kind of reasons. We're talking inflation, time value of money, promotion, outsourcing, taxes, legal reasons, and the list goes on. But when it all boiled down to it, I got another opportunity that just felt right. At first, I was gonna try to be an overemployed tech bro with 2 jobs, and wouldn't you know it, Google actually approved it. Until the lawyers at my new gig swooped in and declared that working at Google was a no-go. Other jobs are fine, but Google holds a lot of rights to your intellectual property, so it turns out my new job wanted proof of my resignation from Google. So, in the summer of 2022, almost 2 years after joining Google, I left. And I'm now working for a company that allows me to work anywhere in the world. They did also let me, but not full-time all the time. They just have remote work weeks. Anyway, after I left Google, I went to London, Germany, Romania, Turkey, Thailand, Cambodia, and I'm currently in Thailand, which, let's be real, Google wouldn't have let me work from Thailand for more than a month. And I'm a lot happier now. Although I do miss my coworkers at Google a lot, and I have nothing but good things to say about the company, and that's coming from someone who was previously super anti-corporation. So that says a lot. I wouldn't have gotten many of the opportunities that I did without Google, and also without being a little delusional, taking calculated risks, and meeting the right people along the way. And I'm so glad that I didn't necessarily do what I wanted, but instead did what was best for my resume, which was getting Google on their resume, which I would still highly recommend a FAANG job for. And now it's been almost 6 months since I quit. I feel like it was the right decision, but I guess we'll see soon. I'll make an update video on 6 months after quitting. Sometimes you just have to trust the universe and listen to your gut, while also using a little bit of logic, weighing the pros and cons, and trying to aim your career on where the market is headed. But since I was explicitly told not to give too many details about what I'm working on now until it launches, I'll tell you more details in a video very soon, so make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss it. And of course, it would mean a lot to me if you feel like supporting the channel. Give it a little love by clicking the like button, sharing with friends, or hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching and for your support. Let me know your thoughts below. Have an amazing rest of your day, and see you in the next one.